Hi, I'm Stephen Budden. I help people dramatically heal their life, particularly leaders. And I just wanted to remind you that there are five great mistakes that humans make that keep them mired in mediocrity. And these apply to entrepreneurs as much as creatives. They can be understood by highly intelligent, intuitive people from all walks of life. And the five great mistakes, which I'm still fleshing out, need a little context. So, a broken neck that was a near death experience for me, kind of reframed my worldview. Lately, I've been doing deep work sitting on a typewriter in the morning and for a few hours a day just staring into space. Before I moved here to North Carolina, I lived in the forests of the redwoods of Northern California, and before I had a child, I was having endless time to kind of sit and muse and wonder. And when I'm sitting alone and musing and wondering, I am my highest self. The digital technology can lure me out into the world of addictions. And you know what you do when a digital technology lures you out into the world of addictions? You put that digital technology aside and you free yourself from that. So that's what I'm doing. I have a light phone. It's a very minimalist phone that I use during these times if in case someone needs to reach me or if I'm out somewhere. I have a 1955 Groma Colibri typewriter that I type on. It's a beautiful little ultra portable machine made in USSR occupied West Germany in the 50s. And that just brings me back to the state. And from this state, this great mistake framework came up. The great mistakes. And there is the materialism mistake. That means we mistake ourselves as machines that malfunction and we become pervious to little tiny micro machines, which are called viruses, that penetrate us at our weakest link. Rudolf Steiner taught that if you go to sleep thinking materialistic thoughts, you're much more inclined to catch these little things called viruses, because in actuality you're changing your world in that way. You're becoming this thing. So what do most of us go to bed thinking of? We may do our prayers, however, we're often thinking about our revenue or our money worries or our safety or checking the news, da 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 da. The materialism mistake. This leads to what I call the mortality mistake. All of this framework unconsciously programs you to the fact that life is finite and you are going to die. When I was walking on a beach with my father in 2005, I had an awakening experience, and what I heard was a voice that said, you will live forever. This will live forever. This shall not die. That's essentially what it said. I heard or experienced or saw through my senses this part of me that was eternal. Now, I don't know if I needed to see that to kind of know that and intuit that, though now for me that's an actual experience. What that does is lift me out of the burden of fear. So during the pandemic, when everyone was running around like so afraid of passing on, somehow I was able to be peaceful in the sense that I could think, oh, these things happen for a reason, another one of my core beliefs. And that's I can pass away when it's time to pass away, and you will too, and there's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. So if you struggle to survive, then you survive, and you were meant to survive. I wonder if you wouldn't have struggled if you would have survived, if you were meant to survive, right? That's the question. So that materialism mistake often gives rise to the mortality mistake, which gives rise to the morality mistake, where you think your worldview is right and other people's is wrong. It's not that there's not such a thing as a universal high ideal. It's just that if you look at even the morals from the Bible, they change over time and within context. So the morality mistake is like getting so stuck in your framework that what they did was wrong, which is almost, once you flesh out their worldview, it's hard to see that from that extreme single solipsistic viewpoint. What they did was wrong. And we're robbed of our power when we make these great mistakes. These great mistakes keep us, like I said, mired in mediocrity and apart from our higher self. I call them mistakes because when we come into this world, we adopt certain beliefs. Some of them are hoisted upon us, some of them we pick up unconsciously, and I'm encouraging you to pick up beliefs consciously. So, you're not a machine that malfunctions. There are not cataclysms coming toward you. There are not. You can become immune to the law of accident, as it were. And as I crawled out of the water when I broke my neck, I no longer believed in accidents. That's a terse way of saying that happened for a reason. I could feel it in my very bones, what I call the gifted bones, which are something so far more advanced and evolved than any machine that exists ever. I was in a philosophy of mind class one time, and the professor was saying, who here thinks the mind is like a machine? And I was like, I think I do. So I raised my hand. He's like, okay. He didn't really disagree with me. However, that answer to that question sent me spinning for the next 10 years on whether the mind was a machine. And I think in our weakest moments, we are mechanical beings. In our most empowered moments, we are surging with life force flow, divinely inspired, completely free to align with certain timelines. So we need to move from the mechanical, materialistic viewpoint to the freedom viewpoint. And that's what changing these mindsets, these great mistakes, makes available. The thing about a mistake is that we need to stop making it. It's like in that Tibetan book of Living and Dying. There's a story about walking into a hole over and over, and the next time you sort of step in the hole, and the third time you go around the hole, and then you're free of that potentiality, that timeline. And that's what I want for you. So I've put together many books, protocols, resources, etc. to help lift people out of these great mistakes, and I've just been pondering them, and this is how I get the framework. I look into nature, and this other word comes, and this other word comes, and I'm playing with the words. You can see that the words start with M, and it's 3M, there's 3 mistakes, there may eventually be 4 mistakes, etc. Some kind of collapse into the other ones, and I find the framework that's most easy to deliver, and that's why I'm here in this world, to help communicate the beauty of healing and personal evolution for you, for whoever. And hopefully you can tell I'm not lying or making stuff up. Am I making stuff up? I wonder if life is a certain series of events that we interpret. So this leads to the next mistake. The meaning mistake. We think that things inherently have meaning, and things only have meaning when we give them meaning. So give your past story the meaning that you need to thrive in the moment where you are, to leap to the timeline that you need to be in. This is not a mistake. You are not a mistake. Like, even if you were born out of wedlock or you were born by accident. I used to have a healing mentor who would always say, my mother tried to abort me and she'd burst into tears at 70 years old every time she told that story. And I always thought, wow, the power of a story to grip us. Because the story was not her mother tried to abort her. The story was that she was unloved and not wanted in this world. That's the story that was interpreted and anchored in deep into the cells and the cellular tissue and the somatic memory and the spiritual memory. I've worked with many clients who have flashed back at the mere touch or mention of a word to what we would call an archetypal or past life memory. So you create meaning. As Werner Erhard said, the world is inherently meaningless, and I can't think of anything more exciting because I get to create the meaning, and you do too. So if you want me to send you a nice coherent, brief summary of this framework, comment the Great Mistake Framework and I'll send it over. I'm still putting it together right now, so it will be refined over time. I want to make it like a live document that gets updated over time. So I'll share with you the Dropbox. You can connect with that and come back sometimes, and I can tell you when there's updates, etc. So this is welcome to a new world. As I was pondering, wondering how I could support myself and others, this idea came to me. I hope it supports you too. Again, I'm Stephen Budden. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you.